I wanted to ask you about the world of television and serving up relevant ads that work for consumers, managing an ad load that works for you guys as buyers, but also allows the broadcasters to have a successful business. How is it all going to shake out?
Right, so there's a lot in that. I would say I agree, golden age of television from a content standpoint, but probably not from a viewer experience standpoint when it comes to the ad part of it. And they expect more than they've ever expected before, so we got to get relevance right, we got to get the right ad to the right person, and know how many times that person's seen that ad and on how many platforms. So if you don't understand me, you don't really, if consumers today expect that relevance, and if they don't get it from brands, because I've seen that ad 8 times today, 3 times on my iPad, twice on my TV, and 4 times on my phone, and you didn't realize that, then you don't get me, so I don't think you get it. So there's a lot on the brands to figure this out. And at the same time, I think the media owners have been very good about realizing that the experience needs to get better. There's too many ads and there's too much frequency, and so I think everyone's working to try to get the experience better because the consumer's really expecting it.
So I'd like to talk about performance. There's been a lot of discussion about performance, attribution around TV. The expectations have changed, haven't they? And there's quite a lot of companies that are saying they provide attribution and performance metrics. How is that expectation changing the TV mix from a buyer's perspective?
There's definitely not one answer to that question, but everybody would like to go past the crude Nielsen metrics to something that's more precise, and that certainly makes sense. But for people who have first-party data and can close the loop, there actually can be more precise about what's going on. Some people don't have first-party data, harder for them to really prove the causality directly. I think everyone's desirous of better metrics. Not everyone's desirous of lower funnel metrics for TV though. Not every CMO says I want TV to drive sales in short term. They're not all asking for that. DTC brands where they can measure everything in seconds, they're a little bit more focused on that. But television is not, it has many jobs it needs to do. And so there's a lot of art still in advertising, there's a lot of art still in marketing, where ads are placed, the content that they're around. These are all things we want to measure. What we want to hold TV accountable for, I think, is different depending on the business and the business category. It's not all, everyone's going to say it's about TV outcomes and that's it. That's not what our clients are asking for right now.
So what do you think about the state of advertising itself, the creative units? And we've been we don't talk about it that much at these conferences, but it's important. You raise it up. You raise that. Now, what's the importance of creativity? And also, in a related question about creative optimization and versioning.
Right.
So let's talk a little bit about the creative element and what's needed.
Yeah, I think in a complex, cluttered landscape, breaking through is harder to do than ever, but really necessary. And so innovation's got to come in both the messaging, but also in the formats of that messaging. And as I said, I think the media owners are really focused on trying to get there. Things like pausable, when ads pause, and binge ads, and what's going to go on in different viewing experiences. I think they're thinking about it, everyone's thinking about it the right way. How do we make something more impactful and better for the consumer? When you talk about DCO or dynamic creative optimization, I just think it's going there. I think in real time we need to get the right message to the right person depending on where they are in their purchase cycle. And I think you're going to see, came up in the conference here today, I agree that creative and media has to get closer together. And we have a phrase at Dentsu called integration by design. So not integration by we want everyone to collaborate and you must be around the table. No, it has to be designed that way. And I think the data is going to lead that, and companies that have the data aren't going to want to share it with other rival agency holding groups that don't have the data or don't have the same data. And so I think that the data and the plumbing that connects that data for both creative and media is going to lead more of the business to come back together.
And finally, Tim, changing expectations from your clients. And there's a lot of moving and shaking and interest and reviews and a lot. It's a kind of an interesting time. But what are some underlying themes in terms of client expectations that you hear?
Right. So clients are trying to drive innovation and performance out of their service partners, which agencies are. That's what they should do, and they make us better. I think it's been interesting how much fewer reviews there's been in the US in the last year than any of the prior 6 or 7 years. There's been less business in review, as I think it gets harder and harder to drive the cost savings, which was really sort of the tip of the spear, either stated or unstated, as to why a client might put its business in review. Thought it could save money in their media costs, and because it's getting harder and harder to wring those savings out, there's been fewer and fewer media reviews, and I look for 2020 to be similar. There'll be reviews, but there'll be fewer than there were in the 2015, 16, 17, 18 period.
Good, and some other expectations that you guys have for next year?
Well, so I'm focused on trying to drive really precise data into our clients' behavior and learn more as we go, and try to close the loop as much as we can, try to get as much first-party data as we can, and it's been fun to do that, and I think that really is an important aspect of better marketing, is better data and better use of that data, and that's really what we're focused on.